Hello and welcome to the Invictus Racing League. My name is Harry and you join me tonight on a Wednesday night, 8 PM, live on YouTube. And this is the F4 League Round 5. Of course, normally brought to you by Jake. Sadly, Jake cannot make it tonight, so I've had to step in for this evening. And alongside me, I brought my co-commentator for F2 and my teammate on Monday night. Scott, how you doing, mate?
Hello, Harry. Yeah, it's great to be here again. We're making this a bit of a reoccurrence, I think, during the Abu Dhabi. But yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to tonight. Looking forward to commentating on these guys, and hopefully they can bring on a great race for us.
Absolutely, of course. And obviously we're moving into F4 because we're normally used to watching the guys in F2. So we don't. There's some familiar names. I've thankfully had sort of pleasure to sort of commentate over quite a few of these guys in F3 last season. So I'm familiar with a few of them. Obviously a lot of new names on the grid tonight, and of course these guys heading into round 5. Is there any names that stand out there for you, Scott, that you've perhaps raced against, or maybe even a new driver who you've perhaps heard things about and looking forward to seeing tonight for the first time?
Yeah, there's quite a few. I've raced against Sir Spud. Sab is my teammate for Realistic Performance, so I've raced against him quite a bit. There's a few. You've got Nitro Gash as well. There's a few, Mike. There's a lot of drivers actually that I've actually raced against. So I know what they drive like. They're very good drivers, and hopefully some of the new guys can bring it to them. And obviously we've seen that Malk's leading the championship, and we'll see if anyone can do anything about that tonight.
Absolutely, of course. Move on to our championship in fact, and where of course Malk is leading despite a DNF in the opening rounds. He's had 3 podiums since, in fact even a win in Zandvoort. So of course Malk, you may know, is the voice of Realistic Performance on a Thursday night 8 PM live on YouTube alongside Tim, and of course you race in that league, Scott, so you're very much used to Malk as a commentator. But we'll be seeing how he does tonight as championship leader in Abu Dhabi, a very difficult circuit of course, and very easy to pick up penalties, so these guys are going to have to keep it easy. But he's kept very honest in the opening 4 rounds. He's got Cryptox just behind him on 31 points, and Nitro Gas, the 2 teammates of Malk and Nitro in the Red Bull, and they're leading the constructors as well. Nitro in 3rd place on 28 points, just 10 points behind his teammate after a double DNF for Red Bull. It's gone very well for the Red Bull team. A couple of wins and another 2nd place for Malk in those rounds as a collective. But the McLaren driver, or Maggot, is also in P4, and Tinman in the Racing Point is P5, and of course other familiar names I know from moving down from F3 last season. Synchronously has certainly got a lot of speed about him. It looks like he is he's here in the Alpha Man. But we've got a full grid, Scott, so obviously after watching we saw a thrilling race in F2 last season. That was with only last night, and that was only with 14 drivers. So with a full grid, we could be on for a really good race, I hope, because this track, it is very boring in real life, but we've had some pretty entertaining races so far this week here in Invictus.
We have, yeah. I haven't caught the Xbox races just yet, but F1, you put on a good show of game. There's some good battle in midfield there on a Monday night. Obviously, we commentated on Tuesday night, and that was a thrilling race with Monster Blue picking up a penalty late on and having to really push through to catch up with Beastas. Battles all the way through the grid. So with now 6 extra drivers than what we had last night, I think we might be on for a very busy qualifying. Hopefully people not getting held up and getting in the way, but I think we're really on for a thrilling race.
Yep, and there you are, Tim Man, who left the session, has now rejoined, and I think Tinnis will be the first man to set a flying lap in this qualifying session. And he's in the AlphaTauri tonight, and he's gone on to the medium timers, is Tinnis, so I'm sure he'll be looking to just try and get down an early banker. And in terms of strategy, Scott, also quite familiar with it now. Obviously this has quite a few nights of here in Abu Dhabi, you should say, and it seems like soft, medium is definitely the most popular strategy that we've seen so far this week. But we did see a couple of brave souls, should we say, who tried the soft hard, trying the 1-stop. We saw Beastas fighting for the win with that strategy. It didn't quite work out for him in the end. But you think there's quite a few drivers who, if they are kind on their tyres tonight, could potentially make that work, because obviously making that one less extra pit stop, and you do, if you can keep clean air, which you can do, because you have obviously track position with that strategy, and you're kind to your tyres, you can there's definitely a cause there that say you could make that strategy work still.
I think you could. I think Beast actually yesterday or last night done really well with actually holding the position. Because if we actually have a look and remember what it was like last night, no one was really catching him from behind. It was just Monster Blue who was just superior with his pace. So it does work. If you've got strong pace here, it could work out for you. I think it just depends on obviously who you've got around you, and if you really want to risk maybe dropping a few points in a few places. But we'll see. Some of the it's a half and half at the minute. Some of the guys coming out on mediums, and the other guys coming out on the soft tyres at the minute. So it'll be interesting to see what times they do and who can put it on pole position.
Absolutely, of course. On a Wednesday night, we're running in parallel with the F3 League, brought to you by Ryan and Jakob, and of course the PC F1 League is also, I think, live on YouTube as we speak now as well. So it's a busy night. It's Wednesday night. It's 8 PM live on YouTube for Invictus. And but we'll see what Tinnis can do, as he is the first man out of track, and we will follow him around this lap. Of course, it's 20. How many is it? Is it 21 corners? It is 21 corners around this, and of course, this last sector is very much the make or break of your lap. This is really where all the corners are. You don't get any sort of rest, and this is definitely the most sort of. This is the danger zone of invalidating any corners and picking up penalties into the race. We come underneath the hotel, because it's sort of a lovely sunset dusk. Here in Abu Dhabi during qualifying, and of course when we start the race as well, be maybe a little bit darker than this, but it of course does go to night time, and really looks, there's a little bit of a squirm out to the final corner, but Tinnis does move up into a provisional par 36.1. I think we might have Synchro News League coming. No, who's that? Oh, it was a Ferrari, so we'll try and see if it is. It won't be Stephen. I think it is. It's Party Trev who goes 36.7, and we'll see who else is potentially on a lap. Patsman in the Haas is just coming through into turn 7 and onto the first of the long straights. Mike goes onto provisional pole, the first man to set time on the soft tyres. We'll go and have a look with how Nitrogasu's doing in the Red Bull. Coming through that middle sector, and of course now into turn 14, a very difficult 90-degree left-hander, very easy to lock up and miss the apex there. As F1 Richard, of course, he won this race in F3 last season. I think it was his first win in Invictus after a record run with most races without a win. And so I'm sure he's got fond memories of this circuit. I'm sure as Maggot McLaren goes 34.7. So a strong opening lap from him as a banker. But what can a Red Bull driver do? Comes round the last corner, looks pretty smooth out the last corner, and it goes up into P2 at 34.8. So already a couple of drivers into the 34s.
Yeah, it's strong laps, I think. 34s and low 35s are good laps, but I think we will start to see them drop maybe a little bit lower, maybe into the sort of mid to low 34s. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't think that's really a bad lap from F1 Richard really on the softs. It's a 35.6. That's not a bad lap at all. I think that's a really good banker. Still yet to see a few cars do laps yet. I've seen Sab's been sat in the pits. You've got Brennan is still in the pits, but yeah, good lap times, decent lap times, and like I said, I think we're going to be seeing these tumble down pretty quickly.
And Timon in the Racing Point looks like he's sorted out that perhaps disconnection problem. He's going to start back in the car, and I really enjoy this Racing Point on board view is really fantastic, and he's had a very competitive lap time there of 35.2. Looks like I've got a few drivers also out on a lap. I think our championship leader Malk is coming through the last sector now, so sort of a treble right-hander. This 15, 16 down to second gear into 17, an early upshift into third to get the car sorted out on traction. He's going to leave in third and then drop it into second on the apex, get that car rotated a little bit more quickly, come into the sort of 90-degree right, easiest corner probably to invalidate. He's negotiated it well as he comes around the last corner. Nice firm traction, and it goes up into P8. So of course on the medium tyres, seen quite a few guys set their original bankers on the medium set tyres at 35.7, so I'm sure he'll be relatively pleased with that. He's only 10th slower than the McLaren driver of Milham, who is 35.6, who is currently the fastest driver on the mediums, and got 4 drivers left to set at a time. Brennan's in the McLaren, Sab in the Apatois, Spud, and I am Nilus in the Renault. Those last two are in the pit lane, so we've just got 4 drivers left, but it seems like it's got people favouring the medium tyre to just perhaps maybe get the iron, or perhaps just looking to save a set of soft tyres or something for the race, perhaps, for a lot of these guys.
Yeah, it looks like it. It looks like some of the guys maybe thinking about doing sort of soft, medium, soft. you know, and getting a brand new set of tyres near towards the end of the race maybe. I'm on board with Cryptox at the minute. He's on for quite a good lap, but he's just invalidated it. Coming just on the chicane after the back straight, so unfortunately he's going to have to back out of that lap and pit. But yeah, quite a few drivers on the medium tyres actually. It's surprising. I think that's probably the most we've seen all week. A lot of drivers have gone straight for softs and really tried to go for it. But yeah, it's very, very, very interesting. Like I said, I still think the times are going to tumble quite a bit, and we've still got 4 drivers that haven't done a lap yet, so we should wait and see.
Yeah, and we'll see what Sab can do. A lot of these guys coming into the pit lane have a change of tyres, and a few of these guys on an out lap ready to blast around their second flying lap. But Sab's on his first flying lap, and he's not invalidated so far. He's going around this middle sector. It's flashed up purple, so we'll see how this one goes. And the AlphaTauri Honda, a little bit of a squirm there mid-corner on 12 as he comes nicely around turn 14. We'll see how he fares with the treble right hander. Of course, very easy to lock up the front inside wheel, and down to third, little upshift into third, coming underneath the hotel. Use that curb on the right hand side, just about gets away without corner cutting, and it's a guy who's very much down on his luck and perhaps lacking confidence right now, so I'm sure a good banker will do him the world of good as he negotiates the final corner, goes up into P3. Wow. So he's clearly got a little bit of speed in that AlphaTauri, and I think when he sees that time pop up and P3, I'm sure he might have a little smirk underneath that helmet, because he, like I said, Scott, we know how good of a commentator he is on Monday night, but because we know, you know, he's had a difficult start to the season. Of course, he's been struggling with adapting to a steering wheel. He's gone back to the controller this evening. He's Reynolds has a fantastic lap up into P3. But that'd be a little bit of a confidence boost for Sab, because you know, he is a driver who does need a bit of a pick-me-up right now.
Yeah, I think he does. You know, like I said, I raced him. He's my teammate on, you know, on a Thursday night with realistic performance. You know, he doesn't lack passion. I can tell you that one. You know, he really does enjoy it. But unfortunately, I don't know whether or not it's just been this first half of the season. Maybe he just hasn't clicked with the tracks or enjoyed the tracks. But he hasn't had the bestest of lucks. You know, especially on a Wednesday night in F4. You know, he's picked up a few points on the Thursday night, but it's just unfortunate. He's been involved in incidents. You know, he's had a couple of offs himself. So, yeah, like you said, you know, he's just done his first banker, and he's only, you know, 4 tenths off a pole position. So, I think he'll be pretty happy with that, and I'm sure his engineer and his team will be applauding him when he comes in.
I think so, and we'll just see the Haas there of Mike, who's just invalidated on the exit of turn 13. Easily done, just ran a little bit, all 4 wheels, just got a little bit of squirm on the curves as he planted down the throttle, and that's enough to invalidate a lap around Abu Dhabi. Unfortunately for him, we'll see what F1 Rich is doing. He's in the first sector, so I think there was someone else. It was Ginger Tiger in the Racing Point, who was on a good lap, and we'll see how he's doing as he negotiates turn 14. Right back on board with the Racing Point driver, currently sat down into P14 of 36.3 is his original time. He's yet to score a point here at Invictus so far this season. I'm sure Abu Dhabi will be a great place for him to get his tally up underway, as just nice and calmly around the second to last corner, going to drop it down into 4 for the last corner, so should have plenty of traction, and sprints to the line up into P9. So a massive improvement of nearly 7 tenths of a second for the Racing Point driver, so I'm sure he'll be very pleased with that. And looks like our championship leader Malk is also coming out on a set of soft tyres, so it'll be interesting to see where he can get up to. And of course also his championship rival Cryptox is who sat down in a lowly 17th, as also on an outlap now on a set of soft tyres. So the 2 championship contenders, shall we say, early on in these rounds, so look like they're going to be battling out for on the soft tyres now. It'll be interesting because they've both got a lot of work to do after the original bankers on mediums.
Yeah, I have watched Malk a few times in qualifying this season, and he always tends to just do quite a steady banker, whether it's just on the slower tyre or whether it is on the preferred tyre. It's normally quite a steady banker, just so he can get a feel for, you know, the car with low fuel and the grip, etc. And then you'll find that he'll go and set a decent lap time. So, but even that, you know, as a banker, it's not a bad lap for a banker, and it was on the medium tyre, I think. So, you know, it's not far off at all. So it'll be interesting to see if when Malk comes out to do his lap, that if he can really nail it, and see if he can get onto the front row of the grid. Same with Cryptox.
Yep. And so Spud just invalidated the second to last corner, 36.5, which would have put him about 16th place. So a little bit of frustration there for him, and it looks like the Renault of Iron Nelos has had a little bit of a collision or something. He's retired from the session in the Renault. Nitro Gas, is he on the lap? I think we're going right on board with Malk, who's going purple in the middle sector, go 4.5 attempts up on his personal best. You would expect that. The medium tyres are, I think, over a second slower than the softs, over 1 lap pace, brand new. So we'll see what the Red Bull driver can do in this last sector. Nitro Gas is in pretty as he's just about to come, he's in P2, about to come around the last corner. In fact, he's coming into the pit lane, so that was just an in-lap for him. I think we've also got an Alfa Romeo about to cross the line, a little bit of a squirm there coming out of the second to last corner. I think it's synchronously across the line ahead of us as Mount goes up into P5, so improves by 8 tenths of a second. He has got just about enough time to come in for a new set of tyres. We'll see how I think Cryptox, is he going for a second push lap, or was that he has improved up to P13 and he's going a tenth quicker in his first sector, so we'll stay with him to see if he's just that unhappy with his first lap that he's going to do a second push lap on his soft tyres. Is a little bit of a risk, as you can see him perhaps just overheating those rear tyres just a little bit out of turn 7, having to just make the correction with the steering wheel. Something's currently sat in P13, so he's still got a lot of work to do. He has got time to come into the pit lane, put on a new set of tyres and go back out again if he's not happy. But I'm sure if he's much up on his delta, he'll stick with this lap as he comes round the chicane of 8 and 9, and this little left hand flat kink is turn 10, of course, DRS zone as well, into the heavy braking zone, and he's 5 thousandths of a second up in his second sector. But he's got to make a decision here, Scott, because if he's going to stick with this lap, he really's got to be happy with it, because if he completes this lap, he probably won't have time for another one. But if he is up, you can see why he wants to complete it. But if he's not up by much, then you might as well go in for a new set of tyres, because you don't really be wanting to start on this track on your used set of softs, particularly that have done more than one flying lap on.
Yeah, no, personally, you know, if I wasn't, if the sector times weren't sort of shouting at me saying you're going to be on the front row with this lap, I wouldn't continue. I'd pit and obviously go in for a new set. You know, if you can get that far up, or that much better lap time out of the second lap old tyres, I think it would do with a brand new set. So hopefully he thinks better of it and pulls you to the pits.
And that's exactly what he's done. So he's gone in to the pit lane, 3 minutes on the clock, so he's got plenty of time to get back out there and try and improve on, which is now a P14 place, as it looks like Tinnis has gone up into P7 and just pipped his teammate for now. So a good lap there from the AlphaTauri driver up into P7. I should be very happy to be comfortably inside the top 10. What can Wilson do in the Renault? He was on a personal best in the middle sector. As he comes around the last couple of corners, the disc breaks glowing orange and goes up into P10, so improves by 6 tenths of a second. I think the McLaren of Maggot, of course, provisional pole right about now, is coming around this middle sector, and he's currently on a personal best, albeit only by 4 thousandths of a second, so he's going to have to really push this last sector. Of course, he's 4th in the championship, 11 points behind championship leader Malk in the white and black helmet of the orange and blue McLaren, as we come underneath the Hotano into the third to last corner. And of course now he's got the probably maybe the most difficult corner of turn 20, a very fast 4th or 5th gear for some drivers in the second to last corner. And of course take a tight line into the final corner, squirts on the power, and improves by 1.5. So now has a provisional pole by about 2.5 tenths. But of course he has got 1 minute 50 left on the clock, so there's plenty of time for these guys to go out there and pip him just yet.
Yeah, that was a good lap there that he's just done. I'm just on board with Sab. He's on his sort of second flying lap at the minute. He's very, very sideways through the chicane there. He was a 10th down, so I'm not too sure if that's done him any justice on this lap, but I'm going to stay on board with him. And as you say, he's now coming into the sort of sector 3 where it gets really difficult and you don't really have any time to sort of rest and relax your arms. It's very full on. You know, he doesn't invalidate there. It's nice and clean and tidy. I'm hoping he can improve here. You know, like I said, he needs a boost of confidence, and hopefully he can sort of stay in the top 10 in qualifying, because I think that'll really please him. It's a good second, good last sector as he comes across the line. Doesn't quite improve. He missed out by 600ths of a second, but I think he'll still be happy with a top 8 though.
Yeah, of course, there is time for people to improve and to pip him just yet, but I'm sure he'll be pleased with that. And of course, only a tenth of a second behind his teammate, with not long left on the clock, as Mike's coming around turn one, start his final flying lap. I think got a few guys about to start, lots of guys on out laps about to start their final flying run. And Mike's going quicker in his first sector. He's going to have to find quite a bit of time once get near the provisional pole. But I'm sure anywhere inside the top 10 will do him nicely in the Haas car. And of course, we've also got Malk out on just starting his flying lap. Nitro Gas is also on a flying lap. We're right on board with in the championship, the number 2 Red Bull. Is third place in the Drivers' Championship, but of course as a team they do lead it by just a few points over Alfa Romeo. In fact, Alfa Romeo are 13 points behind Red Bull after the opening 4 rounds, but of course Nitro will be very pleased with his qualifying so far. He's kept himself competitive throughout, and he's got to be careful though, because the two Mercedes of Reynolds and F1 Richards have popped themselves quietly up into 4th and 5th place, as Tinman now goes through with a 34.3, so the Racing Point has had a fantastic lap there to go on to provisional pole. We'll see if his teammate of Ginger Tiger can do any better. I think we've also got Wilson coming up to a lap soon. I think Sab is coming through the pits. Is this Mike coming around the second to last corner now? We'll see, of course, the checker flag is out for qualifying, so it is now or never if you're going to improve. And Mike goes P1. Wow. He's pulled it out of the bag and goes P1 by 100th of a second. We'll see how long it can hold on to it for, or if it does hold on to it. Wilson crosses the line and goes, does not improve, I don't think. We'll have a little look and ride back on board with Nitro, who's currently sat in P5. Looks like he's going slower on his lap, and in fact he does not improve. So we'll see. Looks like one of the Mercedes coming into the pit lane, and Patsman has gone across the line. I've also got Ginger Tiger going into the pit lane. I think we've got one of the Brennons, I think, coming up to the last corner in the Mercedes, currently sat in P6. Can he improve on his lap time anymore? As a yellow flag out, I think that's a sign of the time from the session. He goes up into P3, so he's improved by 3.5 tenths. A lot of these guys finding time in the last few moments. Synchronously, is that Red Bull round? Is that Malk? I think has just had a little spin into turn 17 on the exit, so that's cost him a shot of pole position. He's currently down into P8. Synchronously is currently sat P5 in the Alfa Romeo as he rounds the last corner. It's the track really rubbering in because everyone's going quicker, 3 tenths faster as he crosses the start-finish line, and I think that is it, because Melk will not be improving with that spin. So the championship leader will start P8. Cryptox has not had a great session here. He'll be starting P11, just behind the 2 AlphaTauri cars. And but it's Mike, who's out of nowhere, who was sat around P12 before his last final lap, improved by over a second, and has gone P1. He's really pulled an incredible lap out the bag there from Mike there, Scott.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, absolutely great lap there from Mike. I've raced against him for a couple of seasons in realistic performance, and yeah, I think he was actually no assist as well in the league called no assist. So yeah, good lap there from Mike. I was actually on board with C. Wilson, who qualified in 12th, and I was quite glad for him that he didn't actually improve on his lap, because he'd done 3 laps on them soft, so he would have regretted that in the race if he would have gone into the top 10. But as you can see from there, it's very close on the front row there, and
yeah,
to be honest with you, not even the second separate in the top 12, so I think we could be in for a very close race tonight.
I think it could be a real call on who looks after their tyres better. But there is your top 3. Mike, Tinman, Synchronously are your top 3. Brennons is on the second row. Maggot in the McLaren, who was provisional pole for quite a long time in that session, and not just pole, he improved on his provisional lap. But in those last minute and a half, he saw people crossing that checker flag, and people just seem to be going quicker and quicker. But what a lap for Mike. To find over a second on your last flying run is really pulling the rabbit out of the hat there. And a massive congratulations to the Haas driver. And Mike, who's not had a great season, had a good 4th place in France, but a DNF, and only picked up a couple of points in China. I'm sure he'll be hoping for better luck tonight, and he's got his evening off to a fantastic start. And of course, as you would expect, this being Abu Dhabi, it is a completely bone dry race, and I'm sure these guys will just be fine tuning their setups, adjusting their fuel loads, and of course, if they feel like they need be, adjusting the front wing as well. That's really all about they can touch, and of course these guys will be gearing up to do the formation lap very, very soon. But before we get underway, if you're enjoying what you're watching and you can't wait for more action, of course the F3 League is run with Ryan and Jacob at the same time, also live on YouTube. You can find that on the Invictus page. And the PC F1 League is also live on YouTube right this very moment. So all three leagues run in parallel on a Wednesday night, 8 PM, live on YouTube. Thursday night is Realistic Performance League. Malcolm Tim bring you that live on YouTube. Sunday night, XBOX F1 League. Monday night, F1 League on the PS4. Gareth and Sab bring you that one. And of course, Tuesday is the F2 Xbox and the F2 PS4, which you can find on for the PS4 League. You can find on YouTube live 8 PM on YouTube, and of course twitch.tv/Invictus Racing League is where you can find the Xbox leagues. And in terms of socials, Instagram you can find us at Invictus Racing League, Twitter at Invictus RL, Facebook photo albums, interviews and news, all the sorts of things you can find on our page. And of course, if you haven't already, click that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up if you're enjoying it. And it looks like we're just about ready to get started, 20 seconds before the formation lap will start. And of course, the big opportunity here for someone like Mike, who's on pole position. But we've also got to feel it's a good opportunity here for Nitrogas, who's only 10 points behind his teammate in Championship lead. He's in third place. He's had a very solid start to the season, recovering after round one. But he's currently ahead of both Melk and Cryptox. He'll be starting, particularly Cryptox down in 11th, which we know isn't necessarily a bad position to start on, because you do get choice of a free set of tyres. But he knows after the qualifying pace that he's shown, it could be an opportunity for him to try and claw some points back and really put, he's in a good position for constructors, but he might have to be a little bit selfish tonight, Scott, and really think about the drivers and go maximum for numero uno.
Absolutely. He's in the prime seat at the minute. In my eyes, if it was me, I wouldn't be looking behind. I'd be looking ahead and really trying to gain as many positions as I could. Mount down in P8, I'm sure we'll see him make up a few positions as well. So it's going to be interesting. But I think Nitro Gas here, I think he could be the one to watch, I think, tonight.
I think he could well be, and of course Brennan's someone I commentated on in F3 last season, is a very good race driver. So qualifying wasn't always his strong point last season, but he did usually bring it out in the race. So to see him high up into P4 and qualifying really does mean it could be a real one to keep an eye out on for Synchronously as well. Really proved himself last season to have a lot of pace about him. He didn't quite have the consistency. He also had a couple of mistakes in him. But he's been had a really strong start to the season as Synchronously. I'm sure he'll be looking to really build on his third place. And other drivers, of course, Nitrogas and Melk last season, I know, had very up and down seasons. Nitro had a little bit better fortune than Melk. Melk sort of turned his season around towards the back end of season 10. Had a really good run in Monaco, I remember. So he might well be looking forward to next round. Of course, round 6 is brought to you live from the Monte Carlo circuit. So a lot of these guys are going to be really tested. And of course, if you don't like Monaco, well, tonight's your night to sort of perhaps already make amends for perhaps the inevitable if it is a circuit that you are not looking forward to. But interestingly, Scott, everyone outside the top 10, so 11th all the way down to 20th, all gone medium or hard, except Racing TJ is onto the soft tyres, and he's down all the way in P18 as a Williams driver, but he's going to have to make up quite a lot of positions very quickly if he wants to make that strategy work for him.
Yeah, I think he's doing that. I think he's hoping maybe that there's a couple of incidents that don't bring out a safety car in front of him that he can make up enough and keep with him. But I'll let you start the race off.
Well, 3, 4, 5 red lights. I'm sure Mike is looking to his left. He's got the outside line, only a short 267 metre sprint down to Telmo. He tried to cover it off. He hasn't got great launch at all. And look at Timon in the racing point, flying into the lead. And look at the Alfa Romeo Synchronously going all the way around the outside, running off the track. And he might go into the lead, and he's tagged Tinman, and Tinman has then gone into Mike, and he's gone straight across the track as that was AlphaTauri Sab is going the wrong way as well, reversing. And there's a yellow flag. I think we've got away without a safety car so far. I think Synchronously's gone into the lead. He went wide at turn 1, went alongside the racing point, and the racing point stuck his stuck his wheel into his nose into turn 2, just tagged it slightly and just sent him round in a spin. It's a fabulous start from Synchronous. He got himself into the lead. Looks like Mike is still struggling a little bit. He's going to have to defend from Maggot in the racing point and the McLaren now. He goes very late on the brakes, just about narrowly missing Synchronously, and I think Maggot is getting pretty close behind him as well. Brennons is now trying to get his front wing involved in this little battle for P2. I think he just had to get out of it as Maggot coming down the second long straight. So coming into the last sector, he's got the outside line, and Mike is brakes very late and it just about holds it up into P3. Great start for Synchronousi despite contact. Good movement from the two Red Bulls, and Patsman in the Haas is up 5 positions.
It was a bit of a frantic start, and Mike did just catch the back of Synchronousi there into chicane, and Synchronousi was pretty much the 90-degree broadway sideways there, and he managed to hold it and keep hold of the lead. So it was great driving from him, and obviously Maggot taking the advantage there from Mike, maybe just backing out of that, coming out of the chicane. But quite a very close start. Big shave for Sab again. It looks like he's been involved in another incident at the start, but hopefully he can really pick it up and go through as we start that 2 now. And like I said, I think we're going to be in for a pretty close race, if I'm being honest.
Well, I certainly hope so, as sadly this still isn't fixed, this little problem after the first lap of leaderboard, so getting completely bamboozled. I can assure you it is still Synchronously in the lead. F1 Richard is further down to 6th. In fact, there he is, in fact, just ahead of us, as we're watching from Tennis's point of view in P8. Looking to get some good points for AlphaTauri tonight, as the Ferrari goes very deep into 7. That's going to open the door for Tennis, but it's going to have to be a pretty good decision, I think, to back out of it. But look at the fast starter from Patsman, who's already up 8 positions, is the Haas driver, and looks like he's on the medium tyres as well. So we'll actually go on to the detail, see what tyres these guys are on as he goes for the move. Does Tennis, and he's just about got away with it without any damage, I think, but that's left the door open for Patsman, who's going up into P8. So great start for the Ferrari driver of Party Trev and Patsman. They're up to 7th and 8th, and the highest runners on the medium tyres. Cryptox is up into P10, so he's made the most of another position. I think Wilson is giving him a little bit of bother behind in P11, and you can see a little bit of a couple of cars there of I think that was Sab and Brennons. I think Brennons got involved also on an early first lap collision, so it's a shame to see the Mercedes driver drop down, because I think he would have been on for a really nice race. But Synchronousi still leads because DRS will be enabled on this next lap. So if he is going to break DRS and needs to get on with it, he's got the fastest lap of the race, and it's very, very tight as we're riding aboard from Party, and Party Traffic is going down the inside of F1 Richard, and it's a little push to the right, and F1 Richard has lost all sort of momentum there, and look at that, he's now lost a position to Patsman as well. So these two are absolutely cutting their way through the field. I'm wondering if F1 Richard has any damage. It was seemed to be a firm move into turn 1 from the Ferrari driver, and he's not just minus an end plate, he's minus half a front wing on that left hand side as F1 Richard, and it's going to be absolutely chaos for the cars behind him, because he's going to be missing a whole ton of downforce.
I've just seen, there's a bit of a cork in the bottle there. I think F1 Richard slowed down so much into chicane that I don't know if Cryptox actually damaged his wing there, but I know Wilson hit the back of Cryptox and damaged his front wing and knocked off an end plate, so I know he'll be struggling for grip. But we've got an absolute battle going on here, as we've got Marlon now up the inside of Wilson. He's done a good move there, he's made it, but we've got a battle going on for 7th position. And then up in front of that, we've got a cork effect again with Mike, who's in 3rd position now. He's dropped 1.8 seconds behind Maggot. He's now holding out Timman, Nitrogash and Malk. So we've got a bit of a battle going on. We've got 2 separate battles going on here. So I'll keep an eye on one and you can keep an eye on the other, I think.
Well, there's a lot of chaos going on as Sav's moved, looks like he's got past Timman in the racing point. They're having a nice little battle between, in fact we'll go and see how this one's playing out. Looks like Sav's ahead of the Mercedes and the racing point. For now up into P16 as Cryptox is keeping F1 Richard a lot of company. In fact, Cryptox there, the man in 2nd place, is also minus a front wing end plate on that right hand side. You can see as F1 Richard, I think unsurprisingly, comes into the pit lane. A real shame for him. Of course, he won this race last season, but it looks like he's going to have no such luck this evening. He's going to have to pit for new front wings. They're going to be a slow stop for him, as there's still the looks like the leaderboard's having a right nightmare this evening around Abu Dhabi. We'll go and have a look, see how the Red Bull battle is going, as Malk just losing the rear end slightly, coming out of the first sector, out of turn 6 there, as Cryptox picks up 3 seconds. I'm sure that won't be helping due to the lack of downforce from his front wing. And wondering if Malk is perhaps going on the telephone to his teammate, as it looks like Maggot's closed up massively on Synchronously and is going very deep into the brakes of turn 8. Perhaps was trying to line himself up for a move into the second DRS zone going into turn 11. He's going to have to use a lot of battery if he's going to get an overtake done from there. Synchronously has held off the move so far, and as a go breaking into turn 11, looks like he's going to be safe for this lap. But Maggot's had a lot of face about him so far. He's obviously passed Mike on the opening exchanges, and Synchronously looking like he's under a bit of pressure now.
Yeah, it looks like it. Coming into sector 1, Synchronously was actually just over a second in front, so I'm not too sure if he made a mistake into the hairpin, but they're battling now, really and truthfully. It's actually letting Mike and the other guys behind just start to slowly catch him up. The gap was 1.8 seconds, and he's now down to 1.5, so looks like these two now may be defending and attacking each other. These 4 cars behind that are in their own little race, they're not overtaking each other, they're just sort of sitting behind each other and really just sort of pushing each other along now. As Mike gets a slide out the last corner, it looks like here Tim is going to go to the outside into turn 1. He brakes very late indeed, and he turns in on Mike, and there's contact. They're both a little bit screwy at turn 1, but they both make it through. But Tim, around the outside there, has just moved up into 3rd position with a good move.
Yep, and here comes Mike now defending round 2 Nitrogas between the 2 Red Bulls, as Nitrogas and Malk continue their little fight through the field. Of course, the Red Bulls leading the constructors, as Maggot in the McLaren is now slipstreaming Synchronously. Synchronously going to dart to the right hand side, try and shake a little bit of this slipstream. Does the McLaren driver go for the overtake into turn 8? He thinks better of it. Looked for all the world like he was going to send it on the racing point on the Alfa Romeo driver, sorry, as Synchronously has just about held on to his lead for just another lap. And of course, going for that overtake into turn 8 has compromised his exit out of 9, so it might cost him a chance into turn 11. It's going to have to be a big send. He's going to think better of it. We're going to ride the board back with the 2 Red Bulls, as Malk is continually really eyeing up his teammates' rear wing as they both follow the Haas through this little complex of corners at the early start of the last sector. I think we've got a little bit of battling going on between Stephen and Spud. It looks like chaos as Sab has got himself back up to 11th place already, so that shows how much battling is going on, as Stephen looks like he's tapped the back of him, lost the rear a little bit. Does he come under pressure from Spud and Brennons? He's going to be okay for now, but a good recovery drive so far from Sab, but a lot of battling going up throughout the field.
Absolutely, yeah, no, Sab's done really well. You know, bearing in mind he was 20th and 4 seconds behind 19th position on lap 1. You know, 5 laps later he's now got himself up into, what's that, 12th position on my screen, and he's pulled away already from Stephen, done a good move on him into the chicane, and he's already pulling the gap now. He's already 1.2 seconds ahead, and we see that Brennon's now in the Mercedes is now pitting to do his first stop of the evening. But yeah, no, good drive from Sab. I did see that he did pick up a 3-second time penalty on that lap as well, so that hasn't helped him, but hopefully it doesn't sort of jeopardise his race too much, with the gap at the front still just hovering around the 2-second mark as they come down the back straight. Looks like Maggot's going to go to the outside this time. He might just be ahead on the braking point. Yeah, it looks like Maggot's just got him just before the braking point now, so Maggot takes the lead with Synchronously now dropping down to 2nd division, but here we now have DRS as they come under the bridge now down to the 2nd back straight. It looks like Maggot's trying to move around, try and break the toe, but I think he might just have enough of a gap to stick it in there. But yeah, great race at the minute. I'm out of breath, and I think it's going to be carrying on for the rest of the race.
Yeah, as Mike is continuing to defend his podium position between himself and Nitrogas, and Malk, of course, in close company as well, and Partitrev is also towing along the other Haas of Hatsman. These guys on the medium tyres, so their race is certainly coming towards them as well, as these guys currently sat in 6th and 7th as the Racing TJ picks up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, as Maggot has already extended a 1-second gap to Synchronously. Comes into the pit lane, as too does Synchronously, so those two pitting on lap 6, which should be perfectly fine. You'd expect to go onto the medium set of tyres, and Synchronously didn't want to let Maggot get the undercut, so see how those two do, and if they can come out in a bit of clear air Also, the second McLaren of Milham has come into the pit lane, so that's a little bit strange. But I think it's because he started on the medium tyre, so that's a very early stop. Could potentially have damage. As again, I keep saying Timman's in the lead. I think either we've got some desync here with the Racing Point of Timman, Scott. I'm not sure what he's showing on your screen, but it keeps on flying up and down. Or it could just be, again, another problem with the deltas on this game. It's flying up and down for me, shows him down into P6. But Mike's done a good job to hold on to third place ahead of these two Red Bulls, and I'm sure Malk might be getting a little bit frustrated with his teammate here. It's like, well, if you can't get the move done, maybe let me have a try.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be long until one of them does. One of them's gonna, have to pit before the other one. So as Malk it looks like there that Nitro's just moved over for Malk there. He's probably just said, I can't get past Mike, so we'll give you a go. But yeah, it does look like, I don't know what's going on there with Tim. It's a bit confusing at the minute because not too sure what's going on. But yeah, Mike's done really well, I think, just to hold on to the position where he is at the minute. He hasn't used a lot of battery either, so he actually has done a very, very good job of just sort of defending where he needs to, getting a good run out the corners for the long straights, and keeping the position. But Malk is already all over the back of him here. I don't know whether or not Nitro Gas maybe let Malk through because maybe he's going to pit first. I'm not too sure yet. We'll find out in a minute. It looks like, yeah, Nitro's actually dived into the pit, so could have been a bit of a strategic move there from Nitro Gas letting his teammate through, because he might be able to grab the undercut now as he's going to be going on to probably the medium tyre.
Yep, and Hicker Maggot, our net race leader, should we say, and he's right behind the racing point of Ginger Tiger. And we'll see he's going around the outside of turn 1, so he's going to be very brave. He's going to be late on the brakes, got far superior grip to the racing point. It's pulled off a really nice move there, so he's in absolutely and a lot of hurry to make up these positions and close back up on the likes of Mike and Malk. And Nitro is still in the pit lane, so he's just on the exit now. He's going to come up behind Stephen, who's on a set of hard tyres and will be going a very long way into this race. So Nitro will be looking to get that move done fairly quickly, as again Codemasters, please sort this out, as Malk is sending an absolute dive bomb into turns 8, I think that is. A little bit of contact on the exit of turn 9. They've pushed wide. Malk has got a 3-second time penalty for it. A firm defence from Mike, to say the least, but Malk does have DRS and a lot better straight line speed. I think got a spinner. I think that might be Wilson in the first sector, as Malk sends it down the inside, and also the Haas of Patsman and Party Trev are going wheel to wheel, and they're still wheel to wheel into turn 14. The Ferrari's got the inside line, but it just opens up the corner nicely for Patsman, who moves up into P3. The number 14 Haas has made the move on the Ferrari driver, and now stuck behind his teammate. I'm sure he'll be hoping his teammate comes into the pit lane on this lap to try and help his cause a little bit. Also further back, I've noticed pit stops for Tennis, Sab and Sir Spud has got a lot of action going on between his top 4, and looks like Malk is coming into the pit lane as Mike carries on.
Yeah, it's, again, we saw this last night. Maybe Mike's, maybe he's going to try and stretch out the soft run and jump onto the hard. But I did notice that when Sab pitted, he'd done all of that good work getting himself up the order, that he got stuck in the pits for about 5 seconds. So it's dropped him right back down to 17th again. And Tinnis, who was actually behind him, before the pit stops, is now just under 5 seconds. Sorry, so not too sure what happened to Sab there. So he's now had to do all that work all over again. But yeah, no, it's been a bit of a crazy race between these first 4. I just went on board with Patsford and he just clipped the wall going to the ultimate corner, so I thought he might have knocked an end plate off, but he's managed to keep hold of that. He's got the toe on his teammate, but he thinks better of it. But Mike, really, he's doing well to keep this off, but he's really is holding up his teammate now. Patterson's probably shouting in the radio saying he needs to let me through. He's Party Trev on the same tyres as him, and I wouldn't be too happy if I was Patsman at the minute. I'd be screaming and shouting down that microphone.
And got another spin. I think it looks like again a yellow flag in first sector. I think that might be I Am Nillis in the Renault, who's not having a great evening so far. Looks like he's got himself back going, as Patsman looking impatient as ever as we come into turn 17. It'd be an almighty dive bomb. As you can see the Ferrari, a Party Trev, getting all out of shape, just about slamming on the brakes to avoid the 2 Haas cars. He's also picked up a 3-second time penalty on this lap, so he's clearly struggling a little bit in that dirty air is the Ferrari driver. Sure, a little bit impatient as well that these two Haas cars are really hampering his progress as he's super close to Patsman, and Patsman gets a little bit of a squirm out of the last corner. The Ferrari's going to have a little look to the inside line, of course no DRS down the home straight, and Ferrari driver's going to be a little bit more patient still. As look at Patsman, so much more grip into turn 2 as Mike's having to lift off the throttle, even a corner that should be easily flat as Patsman's going to have a look into the inside of turns 4 and 5, and now into the hairpin, and he's got to be careful because look at Party Trev, he sent it down the inside, a little nudge on the leading Haas and another nudge on the exit of the second Haas of Patsman. They're going to be side by side, both of them are going to have DRS. I'm sure they'll be fighting for the slipstream, and Mike giving a little bit more slipstream to his teammate, and Patsman looks like he's just going to hold on to P3 for now. Does the Ferrari send it into turn 8? He thinks better of it. Looks like he's lining his car up to get a real slingshot onto the second DRS straight, but still Mike is holding up his teammate here.
He is indeed, and I noticed that Patsman just gave him a little love tap going into turn 17 to say, come on, you're in my way now. You know, oh my goodness me, Party Trev comes flying in. He's broken his front wing there. I don't know what on earth was going on there, and he's tapped the back of Patsman there. It's all kicking off. You know, Maggot's probably sitting there thinking, well, I'll just sit back and relax at the minute whilst you guys break your front wing and lose the race for yourselves. But that's not a great lap there for Party Trev. He made a couple of mistakes there, and it's just cost him a lot of time, and it's already cost him a couple of places. But Mike's now got himself a bit of a gap. Is he going to pit on this lap? He is. Yes, he is. He is going to pit, but so is Patsman. So this isn't going to go down too well. So yeah, so I don't know what's going on here, but the two Haas drivers, they're going to try and double stack, but Patsman is very, very close to the back of Mike. He's going to really lose a lot of time here in the pits.
And Malka's, I'm sure, a pleased sight for him. He sees the racing point of Ginger Tiger going into the pit lane, so a little bit of clear air for both Red Bull drivers, and they can get back on with their race as Maggot has reclaimed the lead. And this is really beginning to bug me, this Tinman. I mean, Codemasters, I mean, how long has the game been out now? We still can't sort out a simple timing glitch that seems to be reoccurring throughout the race. But Maggot is your net race leader. Synchronously have closed up, and all the drama of that incredible three-way battle between the two Hasses. There's someone lost it coming out the pit lane. I hope that's not Party Trev. No, he looks okay. I think it might be O'Steven on the hard tyres. He's minus a front wing end plate, and also, and McLaren as well, Milham.
Oh my goodness me! Oh my goodness me! Good job that Ghosted was on then, because poor old C. Wilson would have. Oh well, that was was very, very close. That made me sweat a little bit just going on board with him. Never mind what he was thinking in that cockpit. But yeah, it must have just been a bit of a. Marlon must have just lost it there on the right hander. It's a very difficult right hander there. If you get the wrong line or clip the curve, it can really, really lose the back end. But that was very lucky for him there.
Well, not too long ago, we had Ghosting obviously turned off for the Invictus Racing League, Scott, and I was thinking one word comes to mind if Ghosting was still off, and that'd be plane crash for the McLaren driver. I mean, that was a very, very optimistic rejoin, to say the least, but he's damaged, and I'm sure he'll be looking to come back into the pit lane at the end of lap 11 if he has got significant damage to his front wing. Mike is currently sat down in P6. Obviously made his pit stop, got a yellow flag in sector 3. I think that's Ian Nellis again. He's just having he had a moment, I think, or it could be actually Wilson here. Wilson and Ginger Tiger look like they've both spun each other on the exit of turn 14. Looks like they've both got going okay. We're trying to have a little look, see if they've got any damage. Looks like the Racing Point's front wing looks well intact as Mike has just really tucked up quite nicely behind F1 Richard. F1 Richard trying to make a bit of a recovery after, of course, early damage, and time penalty for Milham, and also it was for Ginger Tiger as well, 3 seconds for both of them. And Party Trev also now picking up, I think, another 3-second time penalty, so I think that's 6 in total for him. Got lots of battles going on everywhere. The two Red Bulls are also going to be switching around again as Malk moves up into P3, and I'm looking at that front wing end plate of Nitro, and I think he's minus the right hand side of that front wing, so he's going to be struggling for downforce, so it makes sense that it's let his teammate through there. Not quite sure how he's done that. It might have done it in all the chaos of the cars battling ahead of him, potentially. before they all made their pit stops. We'll go and have a look on board with Mike, who's tucked up right behind F1 Richard. Couldn't quite get close enough to make the move done, as it looks like Sab and O'Stephen are swapping places as well.
Yeah, it looks like Sab's actually caught up to the back of Tinnis, who was 5 seconds ahead of him. They're going 3 wide into the chicane there. Tinnis braking as late as possible, but it looks like O'Stephen might have just made it stick. They're all bumping and boring here into the... Oh, absolutely great racing here. This is very exciting. Sab forcing O'Stephen out there. Very, very strong overtake there from Sab. He's getting his elbows out and he's getting really stuck in here. He's showing good pace, I think, Sab. You know, he's nearly in the points now, and he's really, really pushing. He's done well to come back from where he was, and yeah, he has got a bit of a gap. You know, got a 7-second gap to Party Trev to try and catch up on. But all he's got to hope for is a safety car, and he's right back in it again. But I did just pop on board with Sir Spud coming out of the hairpin just after sector 1. He just made a little mistake on the curb there, I think, and just dropped the wheel on the rumble strip, and it spun him round. But we've got some great racing coming on here, and everyone's quite close together. So I think it's only going to get better for us.
Yeah, and I certainly hope so, as Mike is continuing to shadow the blacked out Mercedes as we come down the DRS straight. It's closest he's been, and it hasn't looked like he's had a slippery car in a straight line at all this evening, but it looks like it's going to be quick enough to get the job done as the number 2 Haas moves up into P5, and I'm sure he'll be looking to hunt down the 2 Red Bulls once again. It's sort of a breakaway top 2 right now after the pit lane, after the undercuts. From Malk and Nick Knudsley worked well, because Malk is now 12 seconds behind, and Nitro is just losing touch with his teammate just a little bit. You would expect that. Obviously he has got damage to that front wing end plate that we're seeing on the spectate, so that definitely would make sense. Party Trev is now stuck right up behind Cryptox in the Alfa Romeo on those hard tyres, so you would expect him to be trying to go to the ends, the man number 2 in the championship, and from the position he's in, you'd think it is a bit of a damage limitation for him this evening. You can see his championship rival Malk up into 3rd place right now, so he's got to try and get all the points he can. I'm sure there'll be plenty of errors from cars in front. There is more positions up for grabs if he can keep it clean, and particularly if he's nice and kind with track limits and therefore penalties. He goes a little bit wide there in the second to last corner. Could bring him under pressure a little bit more from Party Trev on his following lap. Of course, he's on a nice new set of mediums, so he's got all the pace in the world on that Ferrari. Would have had a slightly slow stop, because I think he's changed that front wing in his most recent pit stop, because I think he was minus the net plate before it. And Sabantinas also going along nicely. I think they'll be able to just close in slightly on these two. As Party Trev outbreaks himself massively, coming after the first sector into turns 4, 5 and 6, and he's just about got it going, but he's lost a whole heap of time there. And once again, Tinnis has gained about a second from that, so the 2 AlphaTauri's going on nicely, and they've still got a chance for some points here tonight. Yeah,
they have. Yeah, they're really out started the game on the cars ahead of him. On my screen, I've got, I don't know what position you've got in, but I've got Timmerman in 3rd position, so I'm not too sure what's going on there yet again. Yeah, no, like I said, everyone's, I think, just starting to get into a little bit of a groove now. You know, they're on the 2nd stint, the majority of them. I think they're all just trying to sort of work out what they could do for the last stint, when they're going to change tyres. They've got a yellow flag. It looks like there's a
Racing TJ.
Is it Racing TJ off again? He's had a bit of an off meeting for him there. I've spoken to him quite a few times and done a few races with him. He's not like him. He's normally quite competitive, so he's not having a great one. We've got a yellow flag and got a Renault off as well somewhere there. I'm not too sure who that is scrolling through.
I am Lillis. Yeah, he's minus his front wing.
Yeah, so it looks like he's tapped the wall there. It's the same corner. That corner catches a lot of people out. It's a very difficult corner. Especially if you've overheated your rear. We have got a safety car now. This could really throw in different strategies now, and this is going to please people like Sab and Tinnis, who were sort of 5-6 seconds behind the pack. Everyone's going to bunch up now, and it's going to be quite interesting to see. We've got a lot of cars diving into the pits now, so it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Well, 13 laps to go. You either go very brave and very long on the soft tyres, or you're probably thinking of pitting for a new set of mediums. This is what I expect most people to do. Party Trev has put on a new set of soft, so he's being particularly bold. He's going to have to, also, you'd imagine 2-3 laps maybe off soft tyres. I'm afraid it really is a guessing game to find out where Tinman is. You've got him showing in P3 for you. He's currently down for P12 on my screen, Scott. So I think we might be pleasantly surprised maybe when he crosses the start-finish line as to where he is, because of course on my screen he spun out on the opening lap. But he's currently down to P12 as he's passing the safety car on my screen, where sadly these sort of bugs are just completely standard in a Codemasters Formula 1 game right now. It is certainly in not the greatest state, but we'll go off what we can see so far from our screen, and that is Maggot is looks like our race leader at the moment. He's going to come into the pit lane, and I imagine synchronously he's going to follow him in. He does indeed. So and I'd imagine to see the two Red Bulls also coming in. I think a lot of guys are going to be taking this opportunity to get on a new set of tyres. As you say, Scott, this is going to help those guys who are just outside the top 10, because there was a bit of a gap, wasn't there, between the likes of Party Trevor and Cryptox, that Tinnis and Sab were doing their best to try and recoup their way back into the fight for points, as both Red Bulls are now into the pit lane. I think F1 Richard will be following suit as well. Yes, he is. He's on an old set of medium tyres, so it makes sense for him to come into the pit lane. And I think it's the likes of Brennons who is the first car who's already made these pit stops, so I'm sure he'll be pushing his delta to the absolute limit. He'll be seeing on the minimap all his cars into the pit lane. It's going to be close to see whereabouts he is going to fend off. I think also he had contact on the opening lap, but it looks like he's going to gain a few positions as a drive-through penalty for Ginger Tiger for speeding under safety car. So he's obviously been pushing a little bit too much. As I've got Brennon's, I'm gonna have to wait for this to update to make sure it's right. But for me, it's showing Brennon's up into P4 when the safety car comes in. Is that Tinman still in podium positions for you?
I've got Tinman sat right behind Synchronously at the minute, so I don't know who's right and who's wrong. So I'm going to try and, in a polite way, I'm going to try not to mention him for a couple of laps just to see if it updates and just see, because I'm getting a bit confused on who's where at the minute. But after now the safety cars come out, a lot of people have gone on to the mediums, a few daredevils going on to the softs, and then we've got Patsman and Ginger Tiger who have gone on to the hards. So it's interesting. We've got a few guys that are all on different strategies. This could get interesting.
I certainly hope so. And of course, but there is McLaren, our race leader, and of course also looks like we've got a Williams there of Racing TJ, who might be desperately just trying to unlap himself here. I'm not sure if you're allowed to do that. He's going to be careful because he's cutting inside turn 14 there. Looks like he's going to go past the race leader and past the safety car. And
I thought he was going to dive bomb.
And he's been disqualified from the session, so clearly the game does not allow him to. Obviously, in real life Formula 1, I think you are allowed to unlap yourself under safety car. Sadly for him, he's been disqualified from the session, so a disaster there for the Williams driver. So Spider will be the only Williams left, and he's a long way away from the safety car train. So I'd be hoping that this safety car stays out for a while. But looks like the whole field then on a new set of tyres. And of course our top 6 of Maggot, Synchronously, I'm going to say Tinman, Bird, Melk, I believe is P4, Brennon's just behind him, Mike and F1 Richard all on the new set of mediums. Party Trev is up into 7th or 8th on his new set of softs. I'm sure we're looking after there. Nitro Gas in the Red Bull has dropped down. I think he's just lost out, got stuck behind his teammate. Also, he might have changed his front wing as well. Patsman, the only man on a set of hard tyres inside the top 10. Cryptox on a new set of mediums, so he'll be looking to push forward, and another chance for the AlphaTauris to get himself back inside the top 10. They're both showing a good bit of pace. Tinnis had a very nice qualifying step as well, and they've both had a good drive so far. Obviously, a bit more luck, they can get some good points tonight, and of course, with bated breath, I say Tinman down in P13 ahead of his teammate Stephen in 15th. Wilson is 16th in a Renault. Millum has got a little bit of a redemption to make after a little bit of a chaotic evening so far for the poor McLaren driver, and as Spider, I'm sure will be looking to try and catch up to this train as well, as it looks like we're just relying on those last 3 guys of Wilson, Millum and Sir Spud to catch up with this queue. So we might see the safety car extended for another lap until they do. But who have you got your eye on, Scott? Because we've had plenty of action between pretty much everyone throughout the whole field. Everyone's been involved in some sort of fight at some point. Obviously seen the Red Bulls for the first time separated by a few cars here. So Malk will be left to defend his championship lead all on his own. and in a good position. Synchronicity looking to get good points as well. Maggot is still in the championship hunt as well with the race lead at the moment. Will be probably about 10 racing laps by the time the safety car comes in. We've got some drivers who could be on for a real key move or a real key evening tonight.
Absolutely, yeah. But Timmon's just had a severe collision with Malk, so it looks like on my screen I've got him being third with a 5-second penalty. But I'm going to throw in the cards now, and I'm going to say I'm going to go with Brennan's. I think he's going to. I think he's had some decent pace tonight. I think he could possibly go for a podium, obviously depending on if Timon wants to ghost or not, like he is. I think either Brennan's, and I'd like to see what Partychev can do on these softs. I'd like to see if he can get into the sort of top 3 or 4 and battle and see how long it takes for his tyres to go off, because some of the guys, you know, last night and tonight, because we couldn't do. I didn't race on Monday, but the guys couldn't make the softs last that long on a Monday night. So yeah, we saw last night some guys going to lap 10, lap 11 on the soft. So if that is the case, then Partychev could be on for a decent result, I think.
Yeah, certainly hope so. And of course, that contact with Malk under safety car does sort of confirm to me that Timon is in fact right near the front in the top 3-4 cars. So maybe you have to keep me abreast of what he's doing in that racing point in terms of positions. Silly game bug I think we might have for the last 10 laps, but we'll see how he does. And of course, as you say, Brennan's after a collision on the opening first lap, I think, which drops him right down the order, as somehow find himself back up in amongst the mixed for a podium. And on a new set of mediums, I think that Mercedes driver could be on for a good result. F1 Richard as well was sort of quite harshly put off by the Ferrari of Partychev and damaged his front wing. Looked like it sort of ruined his evening, but F1 Richard, who of course won this race in F3 last season, season 10, is now back up into the point scoring positions quite comfortably. And but that's going to have to be careful, because he's got the Ferrari Partychev on a new set of soft tyres behind him, and Partychev will be very, very competitive, particularly on the opening 3, 4, 5 laps after the safety car comes back in. And I think we've got ourselves all caught back up, so I'm hoping to see safety car in this lap, and there it is. Race control confirmed safety car will be in this lap. So we are hoping for 10 racing laps of absolute carnage here, Scott, because there are no drivers really. I mean, other than Partychev, Sir Spuds, Stephen and Wilson, the guys on soft tyres might have to manage their tyres a little bit to make sure they don't overheat him on the last few laps, but everyone else should be able to go 100%. They should have plenty of fuel and plenty of batteries due to the safety car, and we should be able to see all-out warfare, I'm hoping, for the last 10 laps.
I think we will, and we've seen quite a few dive bombs from Partychev tonight as well, so I should think he'll be dive bombing into some of these tight corners after the long straights with these soft tyres, because he'll be able to brake just that little bit later. So we may see some dive bombs now, especially with the top 7 cars on medium tyres. Like you said, they're going to go out of their own battle. They always need to watch out for our Partychev, because I think he'll be making his way through pretty quickly.
And the safety car is just peeling into pit lane as we speak, and I think Maggot has gone early in the McLaren, so he's going around the last second to the last corner as Williams got himself a severe collision with Sir Spud and got himself a 5-second penalty for that, so not a great restart for him at all. He's coming down into P13, but we are green flag, and for 10 racing laps here at Abu Dhabi, we're going to see what everyone can do. How many positions can they make up? It's been a great restart for Maggot. He's clearly ahead of, he's got a Sir Spud coming into the pit lane as he got damaged or something. He clearly decided he's not up for it, as he is currently down into the pit lane and out of this race, so no scoring points for Williams this evening, as Maggot comes out of turn 7 looking comfortably ahead of Synchronously. Malk on my screen is a couple of seconds behind. Looks like Partychev is already making moves, and he's got the Red Bull of Nightshades. We said he'd have to be careful because of the soft tyres on the car behind, but the Ferrari's going to be careful as well, because he's got Patsman on the hard tyres right behind him as well of the Haas car. And is there going to be a couple of sensors? Looks like he might be making a move here. There's not a bit of great camera angle as the Ferrari goes very wide, but it's come out just behind Nitro Gas still, as they're coming down now into turns 11, 12 and 13. The Ferrari has the inside line, moves up into P7, so a position up for Partychev.
I was just saying, I've been on board with, we've got contact there into the chicane, but I've been on board with Tinnis on this lap. I'm not too sure if he's got a problem. I don't know if he's on pad or wheel, but his brake on the brake bar, keeps flickering, and he just dropped from 12th position down to 17th, and he was like he couldn't get the power down. There was no power on the car, so it looks like he's got a problem with his brakes at the minute, and it's chopped him down. It looks like it's clear again now, but we had 3 or 4 cars overtaking him in a row down the straight, and there were 4 abreast and 3 abreast, and it was a carnage nearly there. But as you say at the front, you know, so Maggot's just controlled the restart. He got a good restart. Synchronicity in second, 7 tenths behind him. And what we can see, we've got a yellow flag. Who's that? Tennis. Yeah, it looks like he's got a problem at the minute. I'm not too sure what it is. Like I said, his brake's definitely not working correctly, but a very steady restart from F1, but we can see Party Trev now all over the back of F1 Richard, and goes very deep into the hairpin there. But he might get a very, very good slingshot coming out of the hairpin. But yeah, like I said, he's making up positions where he can. He's got to be patient though. You know, there's still 8.5, or just over 8.5 laps to go. He's got the toe on F1 Richard as he comes down the straight. Is he going to out? He's going to go for it. He's going to go for it. F1 Richard trying to close the door but couldn't. Oh, we've got a car off. We've got Mike's off into the barrier. I think Mike's just lost his front wing at the same time there. Coming out of the chicane, he lost it on his own out the exit, and they've got another safety car.
Well, I think I saw him going very close with Brennons, but he was going on the attack. Brennons was very close to Malk, and he just couldn't get the power out of the hairpin at turn 7, and Mike got very close to the rear of Brennons, but he didn't go for the overtake. He was quite happy to sit behind and go for the better exit and maybe try and move into turn 11. All I can assume is after you come over the apex of turn 9, there's just a little bit of a dip and a little bit of a bump on the exit of that corner just before you sweep left into turn 10, the flat left. And I can only assume he's got on the power a little bit too enthusiastically, shall we say, and I can only assume he's going to let him go wiping out into the barrier. Either that or he's obviously made contact with the back of Brennan somehow, but I'm sure that safety car won't be too pleasing for Maggot, who looked like he had a pretty good safety car restart there. But of course it will at least buy him a little bit of time where he cannot possibly be overtaken, and I'm sure we'll be having at least a couple of laps. And yellow safety car lights as a little bit of shame as we see a couple of drivers coming into the pit lanes. So all these guys who have got damage or just want better tyres, Sab is one of them. Patsman is also going on to a new set of softs. Sab is going on to a brand new set of softs as well. So these guys are giving out track position for a new set of tyres. Of course, if you had damage, it certainly makes sense. If you didn't, then it's a little bit more of a gamble. Mike also is recovered into the pit lane. He's changing a front wing as well. So I think, as you said, complete damage on the Haas there, and I think Ginger Tiger also in the racing point coming in. Tinnis also coming up. Both AlphaTauris making pit stops in this second safety car window, and looks like Maggot has now caught up to the back of the safety car. But I'm gonna have to ask you again: is Tinman? Is he still looking on for a podium? Because it looked like it makes sense on my screen if he was perhaps just ahead or just behind Malk in the Red Bull.
Yeah, I've got him in 3rd position, so looks like he's still on for a podium at the minute. He was quite steadily sort of, you know, the gap was quite spread out. I think he was about a second behind Synchronicity and about sort of 6-7 tenths in front of Malk. So looks like on my screen that he's in for points, and on your screen I don't think he is. So we'll find out at the end of the race. But yeah, a bit of a bold move from Sab. He got himself into a decent position now. He's only dropped a couple of places, but going on to that soft tyre now, not only has he got a... I'm not too sure, he's got to overtake, you know, another 3 or 4 cars to get him back to where he qualified on the grid, but you know, he should be able to do it on the softs. But the medium tyre runners, they haven't really done a lot of laps on their medium, so they're not going to be losing a lot of time, if I'm being honest. So like I said, it's a bold move. It's a move that, you know, could pay dividends at the end of this race, but it depends. If Maggot can get the same sort of restart as he got in the last one, it looks like to me that he might be able to just keep enough on the enough of a gap to win this race, I think. But I may have just jinxed him.
Well, touchwood for Maggot, who of course has had a great drive so far in that McLaren, and we're just starting lap 22. So hopefully the safety car will come in and we'll have at least 6 laps, 6 racing laps, an all-out sprint, and there should be 6 laps, hopefully uninterrupted. From safety car, as we'll just see. So Sab with that pit stop, and the first guy, first of many guys who did opt for a brand new set of soft tyres in that most recent safety car spell. He's in P12, Patsman in P13, and of course got Ginger Tiger, Mike and Tennis also rounding out the back of the grid on a new set of soft tyres also. And we'll see how those guys can do. Also, we know Mike's got certainly a lot of pace. Tennis has got more pace than it's shown. Just had a couple of mistakes out there tonight, and as you're saying, he might be having a little bit of a problem with his rig. Obviously, we won't find out until after the race, so hopefully he's all fixed for him to go back on this safety car restart. As Maggot's dropping off a little bit off the safety car, just trying to get some heat into those medium tyres, because this another second safety car will help those guys on the mediums to look after their tyres, but also Party Trev as well, who would have had to done about 10-12 laps, I think, on those soft tyres. So a few of them would have been under safety car, but it would have had to eke out those soft tyres a little bit. So this safety car will certainly be a welcome surprise to him, and of course his tyres should be very, very comfortable getting quickly back up to temperature as well. So we've seen him already make up a couple of places, and there is again the confirmation from race control. Safety car in this lap. Can Maggot repeat a very strong safety car restart for himself? Synchronously has kept him right on his toes this evening. And of course Nitrogas as well in P7, so the two Red Bulls doing very well. The Mercedes of Bernard and F1 Richard are very comfortably in the fight for a podium still, and of course we'll see Party Trev, I'm sure, trying to make some moves happen. But Maggot is as Party Trev has got looks like there's a little bit of a chain reaction here, because once again it's flashed up of Timon having another 5-second collision with Malk, and I think also the same for Party Trev for collision with Nitrogas. So I'm not sure what's happening back there, Scott, but I think the slow safety car restart is catching a few people out.
Well, I'm on board at the minute with Party Trev, and he's playing with fire, because he's just been literally all over the back of F1 Richard, and when F1 Richard slams on the brakes to sort of slow down because the cars in front are, you know, Party Trev's having to dive out of the way, and I think it might just be annoying or catching Nitro Gas out, as they've all run wide going into the last corner there, and picked up a few of them, and picked up some time penalties. But you know, safety cars in, green flags are waved, and once again Maggot's pulled out a nearly just under 7/10 gap, so it looks like he's done a great restart yet again.
Yeah, and Nitrogas on this safety car restart is ignoring driver penalty for Ginger Tiger, so he's disqualified from the session. So he's clearly forgotten about that one. Of course, you can't serve it under safety car, and clearly hasn't taken it on this lap, so a bit of a disaster for him. Nitrogas is minus his front wing end plate, so of course it might have been him who actually initiated that contact with Party Trev. You'd imagine him going into the back of the Ferrari driver potentially, but Party Trev is also minus a front wing end plate on that right hand side, so there's all sorts of damage going on behind safety cars somehow. So but he's going to make a move on this Mercedes of F1 Richard anyway. He's got the better tyres, he's going to have to slow it down carefully into the left hander of 8, and then of course 7 is going to be understeering like crazy, but he's got the job done, and the Ferrari is being very aggressive and he's making the most of those soft tyres. Maggot is 7/10 clear of Synchronously. We'll have a ride on board with Sab, who's very close to the back of O'Stephen, just outside the points. It might be, I think he's kept it clean. There's lots of penalties flashing up now as Cryptox has got a 3-second time penalty, as in fact, as Cryptox going wheel to wheel with, I think there's Millum going wide there.
Yeah, it looked like one of the cars, I think it might have been an Alfa Romeo, went very wide. The chicane of Sab does a great move on O'Stephen there, gets himself up into 11th position. He's just got to go for it now. He's got to get his elbows out. He's got the tyres up to temperature now, as Nitro Gas picks up a 3-second time penalty, so that might drop him down a few more positions here. But yeah, it looks like Sab's doing well here. We've got an Alfa Romeo. We've got what's going on here? Nitro Gas might have a little problem here. I'm not too sure what's happened there. But Sab's now got himself up into a podium position. We've got yellow flags again, and as Malk now picks up a 3-second time penalty. So the Red Bull drivers on this restart, safety car restart, really aren't doing themselves any favours at all.
No, it's been a really sort of race for both Red Bull drivers. Not sure what's happened to Nitrogas. He's clearly got some sort of problem. I'm not sure he's got a punch or anything, but he's retiring from the session, so he's clearly got problems that he cannot overcome on his last 5 racing laps. As Brennans is also very close to the back of Malk in the battle for a podium. Have we got some more chaos happening back there, Scott?
Well, I think Cryptox went a little bit deep into the hairpin there and just tried to stop it on the apex, and Sab was having none of it and gave him a right old love tap in the middle of the apex there. But it's just dropped Sab back a little bit there, going into the going down the back straight. He weren't quite close enough to go for a move, but Sab looks like to me that he's on an absolute mission. You know, he's getting his elbows out, like I said. He tried backing off just about enough because he thought that would be enough, but he really did go into the back of Cryptox there. You know, surprised he didn't actually break a front wing there, because pretty hard. But it looks like him, you know, at the minute, Sab could get himself out at the minute up to the top 8. He's driving really well. I know I think he's got a 3-second time penalty, but you know, he's doing really well. He's stayed consistent, and you know, if he stays how it is, he could get himself up into the top 8, which I think he'll be really happy with.
Well, good news is with 5 racing laps, I think we finally got to see the actual Tinman Racing Point actually in the flesh. He's in 3rd place. He's just behind Synchronously. An absolute disaster from Codemasters here to have this desync for so many laps, but bizarrely for the last 4 racing laps we are going to see the Racing Point in action. He's in the DRS zone of Synchronously. We'll try and give him as much airtime as possible to make up for all the airtime he's lost through the desync, as Brennans is really pressuring Malk in the Red Bull now. The Mercedes driver is looking very, very racy, as too is his teammate of F1 Richards. He wants to get that position back on Partitrev. Partitrev is going to make his life very easy for him if he's going to continue to pick up penalties. I know he's got quite a few already. Malk is going to try and shake the slipstream of Brennans in the Mercedes. What's the Mercedes straight line speed like down this back straight going into turn 8? He's going to have to go around the outside line if he's going to get this move done. He have the inside for turn 9 if he can hold it there. Not a good camera angle, so we'll go on board with him. Malk has just got a little bit of better traction around the outside, so he holds on to 4th place for now. But of course the DRS as it just goes into the back. Just a little bit of indecision from the Mercedes driver. See who comes out on top into turn 11. He's going to have to go deep onto the brakes, and he's pulled up a really good move there. So another position for Brennans. He moves up into P4, and I think he's kept it clean of penalties as Sab picks up a 3-second time penalty, and he's going wheel to wheel. Cryptox is a damaged front wing somewhere. I think that might be from the Haas, as Pat Smurton has sent it down the inside of turn 14. Sab was having none of it, and he's just about collected his car before he could do a full spin. But Sab's got to be careful with penalties. He shouldn't get another free couple warnings to get another one, because there's plenty of penalties of cars in front. But he's getting a little bit impatient behind the likes of Cryptox and McLaren of Millum. Goes a little bit wide there as Tinman picks up another 3-second time penalty. This is really costing him. Thankfully for him, he's got 6 seconds to the car behind of Brennans, and F1 Richard is still right behind the Ferrari or Partitrev. 3 racing laps to go. I don't know where to look, Scott.
And neither do I. I did notice, I was on board with Sab, and he did pass Cryptox, so I'm not too sure if Sab made a mistake or not to let Cryptox back through again, but Sab was sort of half a second in front of Cryptox and I last, so not too sure what happened there, but he's still got just over 2.5 laps. He gets an absolute stunning drive out of the hairpin there, around the outside of Cryptox. Makes it look easy. He makes it look really easy there with the different tyres that they've got on at the minute. But yeah, no, the battles are everywhere at the minute. You know, F1, sorry, not F1. Malk, you know, still on the back of Brennans. You know, he's not letting him go without a fight. Brennans is about 6/10 in front at the minute. Malk has got DRS, but he's got absolutely no battery left at all. Whereas Brennans has got 40%. So Brennan's looking like the stronger candidate at the minute for the P4. Or we think he's P4, because now that Timman's actually showed his face. But no, I think we're on for, you know, we've got a few battles. We've got Partitrev now all over the back of F1 Richard, but I think it looks like to me, has he got
wing damage? They've dropped a lot back, as Sab's going to try and move down in the inside of 15 and 16. This would be a brave one to get done from the AlphaTauri. And I think he's just backed out of it at the right time, but Partitrev is really struggling. He's cost 10 laps on those soft tyres, and I think they might be overheating a great deal. I think he's minus a front wing end plate on both sides as the Ferrari is all over the place. And then McLaren Millum has spun into the wall. He's lost his front wing, and I think this might open the door for Sab, who sends it down the inside at the last corner and moves up into P7. Partitrev has dropped down. I think Cryptox is now side by side, wheel to wheel into turn 1. And Ferrari doesn't want to give this one up, but he just about has to, and he's miles a lot of fun. That's a real shame for Miller, who's done a good drive on the safety car restart. And now look at Patsman in the Haas. So much more grip, goes straight around the outside of turn 3 and moves up into P9. I guess you can sort of vote from this, Scott. I think Millum is retiring from the session, sadly, so it's a shame to lose him. 14 runners left with 2 laps to go. Great racing from these guys. Very hard racing, but it's good to watch.
Yeah, I think Sab just tagged the back of Millum there. It just caught him out. I think Millum went up the inside of Partitrev, and I'm not too sure if he thought maybe Partitrev was going to get a bit of a slither on coming out of the corner, because Millum sort of backed off quite a bit, and it caught Sab right out, and he didn't have time to react to that. But it looks like to me now that Cryptox has now got the DRS on Sab, as Sab is obviously restoring some batteries. They're going side by side into the chicane. Sab there, yeah, good defending there from Sab, he keeps the car, but it looks like he may be overheating his rears a little bit, so he's just got to be a little bit careful. The car looks very, very twitchy on this lap, but as you see that the leaders are now coming through to start their final lap, and it looks like, as I said before, you know, Maggot got a good restart. He's pulled a nice enough gap now just to sort of, he can relax and he's not under any pressure, but anything sort of outside the top 6 is, well, we've got battles galore, I think.
Yeah. And Maggot 1.7 seconds clear. Synchronicity's had a really strong race, but just at a crucial moment he's just lost DRS on Maggot since safety car restart and can't quite get back into it. There's going to be a hell of a lot of penalties for a lot of these guys. Got to be honest, I think I know Tim has got he's got a big gap to Brennan's 7 seconds, but I think even so he could well be losing a podium here tonight. We'll have to wait and see how it goes when they cross the start-finish line, as there is still battling going on for the last point scoring position on the last lap. We've got Patsman and Cryptox in the DRS of Sab, and Party Trev is still having a right old fight with this, these two Hasses and his teammate. I think he's let his teammate O'Stephen go through to try and press on with the Renault. He's got a yellow flag, and I think that's Tinnis just having a facing the wrong way here on this last lap, so it's a shame to see for him, as haven't got any battles going on further forward. So go and ride aboard with Mike, where we'll go and check in with our leader very, very shortly as it comes round to the last corner very soon. Party Trev having a little sniff down the inside of his teammate. What can Mike do? He's coming inside in P13. If he's kept it clean on penalties, he could still find himself with an outside shot of a point here, because he's only about 2-3 seconds behind P10 of Wilson. I think Wilson's not been too bad in terms of penalties tonight. There's been so many flashing up, it is hard to keep count, but we will ride on board with, as Party Trev has looked around the outside of his teammate. He's got no front wing. He's going to be very careful as Mike sends it down the inside and gets the job done. A good move from the Haas driver, but Maggot is your race winner. Controlled drive from the McLaren driver. Penalties aren't going to stop him, as Tinman does cross the line with many penalties. Brennan's goes up into P3. What can Malk do? Of course, our championship leader. He has got at least 6 seconds, I know. He's going to go home into P5. F1 Richard, I think, also might have a bit 6 seconds. He crosses line P6. Sab is going to cross the line P7. Cryptox has dropped just dropped behind Patsman, and Wilson, can he cross the line and get himself a point? O'Stephen is a couple of seconds down. There's a little bit of a, as O'Stephen's P11. Mike shoots all the way up into P8, so he has been very clean on penalties, so he's got himself a few points tonight from just keeping it tidy with track limit penalties. And well, it was good that we finally got to see Tinman finally in his correct position for the last few laps. A good drive from him, but sadly penalties, I think most of which were actually caused under safety car between contact between himself and Mike Malksoy twice, so I'm sure the stewards will investigate them if there's any wrongdoing with those, but I'm sure Brennan's will be very happy to collect his bottle of champagne onto the podium for him. But a real well done to our podium, and Maggot was class of the field tonight. Synchronizzi gave it all he could. He was very close and matched the McLaren driver in a lot of ways and a very good pace tonight, but he just couldn't quite get close enough, couldn't quite get into the DRS after the safety car restarts. But I'm sure he'll be very happy with his night's work. Synchronizzi does a lot of good for him in the Drivers' Championship, and of course Alfa Romeo as well in the Constructors. Alfa Romeo currently sat in P2, so I think they might have gained a couple of points actually on Red Bull this evening. So a good night for them in the Constructors. I think 13 seconds for Tim, and I think 10 seconds of those was contact under safety car. F1 Richard does a good recovery to go up into P6. Sab had an eventful night, didn't he? Up into P7, even with 6 seconds worth of penalties. Mike shows what you can do, even if you haven't got the position. If you keep it clean, you can still get plenty of points on a Wednesday night. Patsman comes home in P9. Cryptox gets a point, so there's a damage limitation for him. Stephen crosses the line in P11. Wilson will cross the line in P10, but penalties drop into P12. Party Trev P13. Tinnis P14. Of course, we lost all the remaining drivers of Racing TJ, Ginger Nitro, Iron Nellis, Spud, Nitro Gas, and Millen, all sadly retiring from the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. And we had a lot of chaotic battles there, Scott, and of course the safety cars really did mix up, and almost a bit like in real F1 with the red flags. But we really shouldn't let that sort of distract from the fact we saw a really commanding drive from not just Maga, but I think Synchronizzi as well. Those two were the two drivers who really kept their head the coolest in a really tough night.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think it was a good drive really from the top three. You know, Brennan's after his first lap antics actually drove back through the field, done the right strategy and come through to get a decent third position. But yeah, it was a fantastic race actually. It was really exciting. As we said, Maggott's just he kept his head down with the safety car restarts. Didn't get involved in any sort of defending. He just sort of did what he could. And held his position, which was great. And Synchronously again, didn't quite have the pace of Maggott, but he kept it calm and collected and picked up a P2, which is fantastic.
Yeah, a really good drive from Maggott, going up from P5 on the grid to take the race win. So a really good job from him, and of course Synchronously as well from P3 on the grid. And of course I'm sure Mike will be a little bit disappointed. I'm sure he'll be pleased with 8th place. As we will try and get our top 3 into the party best we can. I know Brennan's has joined, so we'll maybe just give him a question very, very shortly. But of course, if you enjoyed all the action and you can't wait for more, of course, Thursday night Realistic Performance League live on YouTube, brought to you by Malk and Tim, 8 PM live on YouTube. Sunday night XBOX F1 League. That is brought to you on Twitch. You can find that at twitch.tv/Invictus Racing League. And Monday night F1 League PS4 Gareth and Sab bring to you live on YouTube 8 PM. Tuesday night Xbox F2 League and F2 on PlayStation 4. Myself and Scott bring you that one 8 PM live on YouTube. And of course Wednesday night is F3, F4 and also the PC F1 League. So we'll see how we go with that, and I think we might just be having a little bit of a trouble getting the top 2 in. We're sure Scott, you'll carry on trying best you can, but we'll move on to our P3 man. Bernard, please make sure you got your mic to be allowed to be shared. I'm sure you're delighted with a podium this evening. You might have to fill me in because it looked like after a pretty good qualifying for you and a relatively good start, it looked like you had some collision or something on the opening couple of laps, which dropped right down the order, but you did a great recovery drive.
Yeah, I was. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, mate.
You can, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, so in the first couple of laps, it was stupid by me. I was side by side into the little chicane part, and I don't know what I was doing there, but obviously I got a hit and just the smallest tap and span, so near the back. And then I found myself, no damage luckily, but I found myself stuck behind about 3 cars, and I was just wasting time there, so I went for the early pit stop to try and get some clear air, and that set me up nicely, I think.
Absolutely, and of course, was you aware Timon had in about 10 seconds worth of penalties due to collisions under safety car? Was you aware of these penalties? Were you doing desperately trying to keep up with him, or was that just a little bit of a nice surprise for you when you crossed the line?
No, that's a nice surprise. I don't know how, but I only asked for the driver in front, which was Malk. I knew he had a 3-second time penalty, and I saw him take some wing damage under the safety car. So once I got past Malk, I was just coasting, happy that 4th was in the bag. But yeah, it's a nice surprise.
Absolutely, and of course, and obviously I contacted you on F3. I know what a good racer you are, and of course your best result of the season. So a nice little result for you there, of course, as well. F1 Richard, I think, also might have got himself a few points tonight as well. So a little bit of a upturn for you as constructors in Mercedes. Synchronously also does join the party, which is good to see. And but we'll move on to Monaco, and I think I'm right in saying I think did you do quite well? I think in Monaco last season in F3. Is this a track you like?
Oh yeah, I only won it.
Oh yes, I knew there's something. I knew there's something.
And we've raced it twice, and the time before that I came second and was just about to overtake the leader, and the whole game crashed. So I'm really looking for. I feel a lot of pressure actually, so I need to get a lot of practice in this week.
Well, yeah, you certainly have put yourself under a lot of pressure to try and continue your winning form. But no, congratulations to you. A fantastic podium, a great recovery drive,
thanks,
and
thank you.
Very good evening for you, and of course keep yourself safe. And I think we'll just move on to our second place man, Synchronously. I think it's just joined the party, so please make sure you've got your mic to be allowed to be shared. Congratulations, you've equalled your best result of the season after obviously a difficult race for you in Zandvoort. But after a good start to the season, you've continued. You've got 3 podiums out of 5 rounds. You must be very happy with that.
Yeah, that's probably the most podiums I've got, like in the whole at the time of me racing for Invictus. I got the most in one season than in general, so it's pretty impressive. I probably could have done better in Zandvoort. I think I was running third at some point, but stupid mistakes, lost it. But what can you do?
Yeah, and you yourself and Maggot were very, very close, particularly on the safety car restarts. You did a really good job. You kept it relatively clean in terms of penalties and all this. But you looked like you couldn't quite get inside the DRS range of him because you looked very matched on pace. The gap never really went more than 2 seconds after the safety car restart. But are you a little bit frustrated, or are you very happy to get second? Because it looks like the race win isn't far away if you can keep it consistent.
Yeah, I definitely could have done a bit better. I was losing a lot of time in sector 1, so it was just not enough to catch up on the DRS. But I'm still happy with P2. It's better than finishing out the points or anything like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, Alfa Romeo as well. Good points. Also, yourself on Cryptox. Your teammate didn't have such a fortunate night, but you've made good points on the Red Bulls of Malk and Nitro. Of course, I think Malk finished P5 tonight, and so you've gained a few points. Of course, it was DNF and Nitro, so you've made up good points. Are you sort of looking a bit selfishly looking at the drivers still, or is your focus really on working as a team with Cryptox? Because the constructors is a real possibility for you guys after 5 rounds.
For me, the main focus is constructors. I don't really worry that much about myself. It's better to work. It's better for the team. But whatever happens, if I win it somehow, then that'll just be a bonus. But the main focus is constructors for me.
Well, that's very good to hear, and obviously a great teamwork between you so far. Double point scoring finish for the pair of you, and of course you closed that gap. I think it was 13. I think you might close it down to under 10 now. So a really good race from yourself, and of course your teammate did well to pick up a point. And it was quite a crazy race for him. So best of luck to you for the rest of the season. A big well done on your second place. Sadly, we can't get Maggot. Sadly, he doesn't have a headset. So we can't get him into the party, sadly. But massive congratulations to him, and well done to the top 3 on a really well done race, and different race for all 3 of them. And a big thank you to Scott as well for helping me out tonight, covering for Jake. I'm sure I'll be back to give you F4 live on YouTube back every next Wednesday night. Of course, round 6 in Monte Carlo. So I hope you join us then, and of course have a very good evening, and of course take care. Good night.